You're out. Can you get me out there first? Beyond. Wait. How about hidden? Wait. How about? It's either me or the computer virus. No, I don't want it in the computer virus. Very fun. Plop. Did you see the outlaw? What?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I'm not falling for that.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
I
with
know,
television
but
screens.
eventually
What
you
horrible secret did
die.
this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength
I
to
saw
find out?
you play that part. I wish I could jump in this.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
That one is failed. It's fire. The one right here is fire. That one's glitching. The one right here is fire. This one's glitching. It was glitching? It's all blue. No, this person is fire. What? These are just that one's literally. These are just screenshots of Stanley playing the game. Look at this one. Wait a minute, look at this one. What is that? I think. Move it that way. Oh no, let's see it. Whoa. Ooh. Shiny. Oh, why did it already in that screen? Hang on, let me see. Let me see. It's right here. Why? There's nothing. That one's not here. 151 is 151 is. How about you just wait? No, not waiting.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Don't go in there yet. What? What?
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Why would
Had he
you
truly
want me
spent
to
his
go
entire
back?
life utterly blind to the world?
I love silly music.
Without further ado, lost the election. No mascot wins, and that's the end of that. Thank you for voting. Okay.
She's so big.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Are you?
Can't be right. I called for a recount.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
I don't understand. You said that. Oh. I hope them achieve their dreams.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
I got the entire town pumped up. It was a great time. Till everyone realized that it's never snowed in Sackatown. The snow games never happened. So this town got rid of everything related to snow. I thought of it that way before. Just the mascot so reminds me of that. Sorry. Maybe
Blackness
bad snow.
and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Yes.
Was it over?
Oh. And then I could be the mascot.
Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Pinky, before you say anything, I just want to say we're really close.
Oh, thanks, Dad, but I was wondering if...
And I also have a special gift for you. Pinky, close your eyes.
But can I ask you? The snowball mascot costume? Yeah. How?
Your dad made it just for you. It's a family paper mache suit.
Wait.
It's even got a interface door.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
What? I don't need to worry when...
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So, campaign manager, I need to know how you're going to make it snow.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the road. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
I'm sorry.
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Why?
I have no idea how to make it snow.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is how you get back to society as a strong, independent woman. I'm going to tell Principal Fun I can't do that.
You are going to be the snowball because we'll help you make it snow.
Really?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes. This room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Yes, it's recording right now.
Blup. Sometimes I like to mess with Day-Day.
30
No.
minutes.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah. Or we could just ask her.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
Why are you looking
neglecting,
up?
Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
It's from the Poppins people. All they want from us is to ride around in this truck to advertise the second hack snowdown. Poppins. And also, check this out.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
Why
All
can't
right, now, I
you
want you
move?
to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh my gosh, why are you all white?
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
Oh
I'm trying to
no.
get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show
I
you what's
think you're
really going on
pretending.
here.
Why are you...
This is a
Oh
very
my
sad
gosh.
story about the death of a man named Stanley.
He was in the body of a girl, but I don't...
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Yep.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
still popping. Here, free drinks for everyone. I don't deserve to be the mascot.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't make it snow, but you won't.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can
Where'd
never
he
be
go?
anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Shall I do it?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
I
All
want
of
to
his
play this
co-workers
anymore.
were
I
gone.
want to play
What could it
games.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.